you know, we'll see whether they, you know, have a decent performance today somewhere other than Bank. It's not been good for them so far over there. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough day for Virtus.pro today, I expect.
They've only been forced to play it once over the last 6 months, and that was in a best-of-3 against Falcons. It was picked against them. It was actually a ridiculously close game, 8-7, eventually being won out by Falcons. And we got to see there that, you know what, Virtus.pro can play it. They just choose not to. And obviously, map pool has always been one of the challenges they've had. Maybe this is one of those they've just kept very, very quietly in the back pocket for when these kind of situations arise. The fact they've let us get here makes it a very, very interesting one. So we'll see how they shape up. G2, though, as you say, no slouches on here. A 3-1 record. Won it just 6 days ago against Wild. It is one of their stronger maps. So let's see how things shake up. Starting out with some interesting bans as well. Deimos being taken away from Virtus.pro. And we're seeing the Clash and the Mute being banned away against G2.
Let's get on into it then. We're going to be loading in any second now. And for me, it's one of the old age clashes as well, isn't it? G2 Virtus.pro. We talk about G2 BDS, now G2 Falcons, and G2 Virtus.pro is one that's been around for, you know, so long. If you trace it back to the old Empire roster, of course, I remember being sat in Montreal in 2019 watching the G2 Empire final with the long match on Coastline as it was at the time. You know, brilliant history between a lot of these players, not necessarily the Orgs, but we'll see how this one adds to the story and adds to the history books. It's going to be console, it's going to be G2 Virtus.pro. We will get into this. Basement is our first site for G2.
Yes, indeed. Interesting to talk about the mute ban for a second, by the way. I look back at G2's last game they played it against Wild, like I say, last week. Both sides banned away mute on their attacking halves, clearly not acknowledging that this map is very bottlenecky. You know, I spoke a little bit earlier on about Skyscraper, Theme Park, having these bottlenecks that you get shoved into, so things like mute jammers are very effective. The same applies to Console. Since this rework, it does feel quite maze-like in there. There's a lot of single doorways that you have to push through to get any kind of control inside of the map itself, and so jammers are very, very effective at that purpose. So I'm not at all surprised to see that there is quite a decent ban rate for mute on this map, and Virtus.pro obviously wanting to stop themselves from being impeded. They know, and we have seen from them across the stage, that the clock is not their friend, Tim. I think banning away the mute is a good idea to let you keep on moving forwards relatively unimpeded.
Lyra just needs to watch himself there. Nearly gets caught out. Look at that. Finds a kill on his way back downstairs and goes back for more. Joystick taken out. That's the Lion gone. E1D scans go with him. Lyra gets a sniff of another, goes back up. Is he going to... Yeah, try to get away with his life. He's just absolutely pinned in on every side. Pasha ultimately picks him up.
I was going to say, he's playing with fire there. He's had 3 players all trying to challenge onto him. However, he's wasted a ton of time. It's like, yeah, cool, they lose a C4. Not exactly the end of the world, because he's wasted a good chunk of time here, knocking on the doors of half the round being gone. Has already got those Mozzie pests down to try and impede Virtus.pro. Really good play from Laura there to go 1-for-1, taking that line offline and probably letting them be a little bit cheeky around the map. Still got to deal with the Jackal and with the Dockerby, of course, but I think Virtus.pro just want to try and shut down that nonsense from G2 as best they can. Somehow, I don't think they're going to be that phased by it. As you can see, 2 or 3 players still on this first floor. An easy C4 kill from Stomping. Good start from G2.
Yeah, very solid so far. Stomping managing to get himself on the board early is always a good thing for G2. Get him rolling and just let him go. We've seen it happen. Playday after playday through stage 1 and continuing into stage 2 as well. Virtus.pro just slowing down a little bit as well now. Just coming up to the minute mark, only just getting the ram going. It was so close, Doki. You got to win that one. He had 2 bats in it. Always is going to take him out. 3 versus 3. Always not taking too much damage either there. Will be able to continue that vertical work that he was doing. Holding down from the hatch. 30 seconds left to go.
Absolutely. As we say, the time often isn't on the side of Virtus.pro. They're not that kind of team. Alamar is gagging to get himself pushed in towards Spiral here to be a bother, but if Virtus.pro hits site pretty quick, he might struggle to get back and recover in time. Here we go, in fact, to say that as he's hanging around that yellow side itself, he can easily come back down towards site. Here's the coming in from the other side. G2 just molding like liquid here, Tim, just adapting to whatever it is Virtus.pro are throwing. 10 seconds to go, no one pushing in the way they expected. They're about to get bottlenecked out here, Tim. Stopping for 1, looking for the swing for the second. It's an easy closeout for G2. A well-managed round from start to finish, and unfortunately for Virtus.pro, it's not quite got enough bite there in round 1.
Yeah, good start from G2. Pretty solid, 3 versus 3. I think the thing is G2, I'm 99% sure we'll know the game plan here, and that is just push BP to the end of the round. Just push them, push them, push them, push them to the end of the round, and then just mop it up and close it out and get the round on the board. And that's exactly what they've done there. Loira has started up on the top floor. He's wasting time. He's took a minute and 10 seconds away before he's ended up dead. Took a kill with him as well, constantly fighting him on the mid floor. So it's 10-15 seconds left when Virtus.pro ultimately start trying to push in towards site, and then they have to take the risks. And G2 have played them plenty of times. They know how to play that game with them, how to burn them down, grind them down. And I think we're going to be seeing plenty of that.
Absolutely. Well, that's your introduction to the map. I'm afraid Virtus.pro over and done with. Now we've got to see something real special coming out in round 2. And Tim, well, not on bank, but I'm sure you're gagging to see what Blaz and Stomping are up to in this round with the Chanker and the smoke being brought along.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on it. Obviously, something I've been looking at closely over the last week or so after our discussions, Des, of the choice, the surging teams choosing to Chanker down in basement on bank particularly, but definitely seen him get some more play. The TLDR that I've came up with basically being Chanker in perfect circumstances is fantastic for denial. 70 seconds over a similar area to smoke, 140 seconds if it's only over a really small area. But generally you want 2 canisters to lock off any sort of sizable plant spot. But the problem is, it's that sentence that I'm using, that phrase that I'm using, perfect circumstances, and that's the difficulty with Chanker. It's just generating that focus that he needs to consistently deny for a minute like that is very, very difficult. Whereas smoke, 3 canisters go in, you only need to make 3 throws. The Chanker needs to make 20 shots. Big difference between the two. In combination, can be fantastic.
Yeah, of course, assuming that's where Virtus.pro go and hit, but they're putting a heavy focus on the admin side here to start things out. You've seen 2 pushing from Visa below. You've now got Joystick in up above. Quite clear where at least their starting focus is going to be. The other 2 players, a little bit different of a story, though. Over towards the other side of the map, maybe looking to either go for a bit of a backstab towards yellow at some stage, or just rotate things around later into the round based on what they discover. So kind of testing both sides of G2 here to see what's forming up, but it looks like admin is to be that main starting point. Loira not quite finding the success that he had last round as Dan gets him from the skylight. That's not ideal.
No, can't be giving themselves away like that. So it a couple of times in the last round. They did get away with it by burning out that time, but this time there's a minute and a half left on the clock, and G2 don't want to be giving Virtus.pro any more than they have to, because this is a team that will come in and take rounds off you without even thinking about it, so they need to be cautious of that. We do hear the first of Stompers, toxic vape canisters going off on meeting door. That will just deny for 10 seconds. Second one goes off, so they're going to be burning down to about a minute, maybe 55 seconds left with the smoke. Alamau manages to pick up Dan. It's crumbling for Virtus.pro as G2 find themselves 4 versus 3 up and in the ascendancy as another one goes down. Stomp and finds the kill from above. They're finding them from all angles right now, Des.
They are, yeah. This is the thing, right? You might start out strong with an entry and think, oh, okay, maybe we're starting to get a move on here. And then you deal with the next layer of G2, and there's just always more to throw at you. They've not had to expend too much utility so far. Still got a smoke canister and play behind us. We're in that last 40 seconds or so. And the Dockerby, I'm a big fan of Dockerby. You hear me speak about her all the time. I think she's really, really good for teams to hit that call button, start a push on forward, especially when there is no mute on side and no ability to block it away. It's very good for gaining ground quickly for slow teams like Virtus.pro. But G2 so far have just kind of managed that extremely well. Pasha down to about 30 HP. As always gets one, but immediately traded out by Stomping. What more is it to say at this point, Tim? It's a 1 versus 3 with only 10 seconds on the clock. This one's done.
Yeah, absolutely. Doki's going to cut down the last man. G2 get themselves to G2-0 on the scoreboard. Taking the first 2 rounds and looking very confident on Consulate so far, I would say. It was a nice opener from Virtus.pro. Maybe a kill that, you know, ultimately they should never have had, but they did get it, and G2 were able to just dig in, fight back, use the verticals, use the soft walls, use absolutely everything at their disposal to be getting those kills and closing out the round. So great performance from them. They've had 2 rounds, 1 entry and 1 entry death, but they've won both of them. Doesn't seem to really matter how things kick off.
Yeah, this is my frustration, and you hear this all the time about Virtus.pro, even back to the days when the roster was known as Team Empire, or at least the majority of the roster. Often it would be they'll do the same thing every single time, but do it so damn well that you can simply do nothing about it. But as the bar in Siege, you know, the quality of players got higher and higher, sure, they can be playing really, really well, but other teams are also at a standard now where they know how to deal with that. They've seen it a million times. It's like trying to play against Aston Villa and knowing exactly what we're going to do every single game, and therefore you stop us from scoring all season long. not bitter or anything, but it feels very, very similar. People just know how to react to it, and nothing that Virtus.pro has shown so far across those first 2 rounds has caused any bother to G2.
I feel like the Aston Villa result of the weekend might have upset you a little bit there. So that's twice you've mentioned it now tonight. Are you okay? You good?
Just stop. Just don't. Okay. Jack Grealish haunts my nightmares.
I'm sure he does. We're going to be moving into round 3, and it's going to be the piano hold this time around. We've got Denari on board, and look at the denial that's being created all around that vending corridor. Going to make it very difficult to move into. It's so fast-paced as well. We see a lot of Denari's being piled up, but here comes the blitz rush. Forget about Denari. They're looking to get in and get aggressive here. They're going to just block off yellow doors so they can go straight up onto the top floor looking for that clearance. G2 need to be aware. They've got barbed wire there that should slow things down a little bit.
Here we go. I was going to say, surely with the Pasha being able to get in with the shock drones, we'll be able to get rid of some of those Denaris. But the danger, of course, in wanting to go faster. Maybe G2 expected this. They thought they'd see a rush. Bring the Denari along, and they have to stop and pause and deal with that. It's why we've got Ella's, Lesions, Smoke. We've got so much to stop a rush coming on through here. I don't think it matters if Virtus.pro want to go fast, Tim. They simply can't.
I'm not sure if Pasha was just purposefully taking out those gadgets with his body there, just trying to aggress forward and get rid of the Ella mine and just create some sort of path. If the Twitch drones are gone and he's not able to get them cleared out, then it may be another alternative way of doing it. We can see that G2 are pretty mobile around this top floor, but they're going absolutely nowhere. They want to hold on to this. 4 of them up there, only 1 on site. They are committed. And Virtus.pro look committed at playing into them as well. The Blitz is trying to make progress forward, but being held from bathroom at the minute. Laura taken down by down. Great start for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, they started this. Don't forget they got Laura in the entry last time around. They've got to build into a couple more fields to really get this one rolling. G2 are all out of utility here as the other challenge. Here we go. Alamau on a bit of a backstab, being chased around a little bit. This Blitz a bit isolated, I think, as a result of that row rush. They can't do too much about it. Here we go, though. G2 now dropping away and giving over that top floor. Happy they've got rid of the Twitch and feel they've done what they needed to.
Stompin is still up there. You can see him off in the distance, in and around admin, and it's something Virtus.pro need to be aware of. They do have air jabs left, so they can make it difficult for Stompin to move back across, but for the time being, they're just trying to soften up sight, looking through the hatch onto those verticals, get the boogie drones going. They've got 35 seconds left to go, but again, you feel like G2 are playing this same game. We're going to meet them head on, we're going to fight them for the first half, and then we're going to dip away, and we're just going to force them to burn time. We're just going to force them to try and clear and gain map control. 20 seconds left to go. Virtus.pro need to make a move.
He can wait for them to execute here and just retake top floor, though, Tim. I think that's honestly the best idea. Doesn't need to go too early while they're still getting themselves set up. Always is down, getting himself inside the site. They can't easily deny him, but he is taking a lot of chip here. You got the Legion trap already going off as well, but look at how much of these floorboards have been ripped apart, Tim. They've got that control. Where's Stomping going to arrive from? Doki steps in trying to get rid of one. Joystick deals with Blaz. Alamar into another. Plant is now going down. It's all down to Stomping, who tries his best, but Shepard, they've got that top lock down, Tim. Much better from Virtus.pro, giving G2 very little wiggle room in that round.
Yeah, third choice sat there from G2. I think that they just gave away a little bit too much too soon. There was that moment where they all decided to drop away. I think the fight was still there to be had on top floor, really. Yeah, the pressure was mounting a little bit, but I think, like I said, I think the game plan is, you know, fight them for the first half of the round and then drop away and just let them burn the time, because basically we're giving them half a round to clear out sight, and it won't be enough for Virtus.pro, as we know they struggle with the clock. But yeah, they proved it there. They gave them a little bit too much time, and Virtus.pro able to get the job done. It was too difficult for G2 to move around inside a site come the end, given the vertical superiority that Virtus.pro had. So well played. They get themselves 1 on the board. It's 2-1, which I think so far is a pretty fair reflection of what we've seen from these two teams. And G2, they're going to be looking to rinse and repeat that same rotation.
Yeah, I mean, granted, that one round there was solid from Virtus.pro. You've now got to go and show you can do that again on the next 2 sites, and it ain't quite as straightforward. What I think they did do really, really well was making use of that glitch. No, fair play. It was very, very aggressive coming out. Love seeing the style of play that they were using it in, you know, waiting out the utility and then pressing really aggressively up to G2 to force them through the hatches, opening everything up with the ram, making sure they had the flank watch locked down so Stomping couldn't be a bit of an upset for them, and planting really well with great cover for the Blitz stepping in, even with the traps impeding him as he moved on forwards as well. You know, one well-played C4 there, and they're probably in a little bit of no man's land, because without a shield, it'd be really hard to get the plant down there. But fair play, they made it work. Now we've got to see if they can do it across these next couple of sites before we make the return. Down to the basement we go. Let's see how they approach this one, Tim.
Yeah, last time around, Lyra was up on top floor, wasted a lot of time from Virtus.pro and got a kill as well. Was, you know, wasting a minute 10, a minute 15 before he was taken out. And then Virtus.pro were fighting with Doki on the mid floor. They were unable to focus on that site objective. And then by the time they did, there was too little time left for them. And it was kind of a Hail Mary, just try and push down Spiral, rush in and see what we can get. And G2 were more than ready for that. So I'd like to see Virtus.pro come in and play their game a little bit more here. Don't worry about chasing G2 around the map. Get that main wall opened up. Get a little bit of presence. You know, just force them directly out of piano if you can and get a little bit of verticality going on and just make G2 sweat inside a site a little bit.
Well, as you know, they like to kind of creep their way forward, VP. It's very rarely a big rush in. Aggression, sure, but very rarely a Russian is the main thing to note. And given the operator line up here, it's more of the same control coming out from that Docker. But you're going to abuse that every single round that you can. One, because as I said earlier on, it helps you get a lot of map control. Two, because you don't have that mute on side, it means G2 just cannot hide themselves away. Doki almost being sprayed up by Pash off the back of a cheeky little swing to the floor coming out of Joystick. Gives that life though and dips himself away. A nice C4 attempt from Alamau doesn't quite find anyone as Joystick goes down to half HP. Even here, Tim, on the entry into the top floor and starting to get even a slight semblance of control. They're being challenged at every which angle. We're only halfway into the round. They haven't even looked at the first floor yet.
Yep, damage done in both directions there. Joystick taking a few bullets, but Doki and Lyra also with chip damage mounting up as well. P2, I think, as you say, are going to be the happier here. Haven't really had too much of a challenge, and they're completely aware, completely unaware of Doki having just wandered his way back up spiral stairs. Doki Cole will slow him down from leaving, so he might find himself getting caught, which he does. Dan manages to pick him up in a trade. It's a late trade, but a minute left to go, and Virtus.pro are going to be facing, I think, the same problem possibly here, unless they can speed up. Everybody of G2 is now back on site. Alamau taken out. Virtus.pro, you've got the time. G2 again, they have fallen back a little bit too soon.
Feels a little bit criminal though. They've got two Valk cams still up seeing what's going on above them when you've got an IQ on side. Not quite the nitro they were looking for, but there's a lot of damage to Always here. Down about 25 HP. Now, had it not got stuck on the wall, possibly that was a kill coming out for them too. Would have been great. Because now the Ram stays up. They've got two flashes to play behind. There's an extra gun in the hands of Always. There's work to be done. And as I said, they haven't quite spotted all these out yet. Maybe now they'll be able to get away with it. All the prep work being done as we get towards the last 20. Great shot from Lyra to get rid of Shepard. Different gravy this stage, Lyra is.
Great call on the nitro. Blast takes down Always. That's what they were looking for last time around, and this time it doesn't catch any walls. It's all going to come from yellow, and this is the situation G2 on. Just having to push in and rush here, Virtus.pro, because they're running out of time. Challenge keeps on coming, but nothing's going to happen from bottom yellow with 7 seconds left to go. G2 take another round, find themselves 3-1 up. I'm sure they're going to be more than happy with how things are going so far.
Nice thing about that site, I think, is because they forced a full map clear out of Virtus.pro, right? They got in on the second floor, and within 30 seconds of being inside, they're being harassed from below. Like, verticals are being opened up by them. G2 are shooting back. They're tossing C4s. They're being aggressive, just to kind of slow and put a lot of hesitance, I think, on VP. Then they get down to the first floor, and it's the same story. Like, Always has had two C4s tossed at him from the same position. First one does damage. Second one secures the kill. They've even got a roamer still up on the first floor from G2 trying to cause a lot of bother. Like, they're not even getting a chance to think about and execute because they're just being hassled from start through to finish. It's a really good game plan. Very active and very aggressive out of G2. For Virtus.pro now, I think, because you're having to go through this full map clear, you're seeing where the cracks are starting to show a little bit. Maybe when we get ourselves up to that top floor, maybe when we find ourselves again on the first floor where it's more of a shallow control of top floor and then a drop straight in towards site, you'll see them look a little bit better. But I think the more of the map they have to work through, the more G2 are just going to make them suffer.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think Virtus.pro need at least one more round. 5-1. I won't say catastrophic, but it will certainly be a very slippery slope towards the end of this game, and I think one that they'll find themselves sliding down pretty quickly if they're not careful. Virtus.pro. So another round at least is essential. 3-3 would be a bit of a steal because G2 have certainly been in charge of things so far. We're going to head back up to the top floor for round 5, and then it will likely be piano, I would have thought. If G2 don't win this round, if Virtus.pro come away with this, then maybe G2 go for another one here. In all the Tachanka discussions as well, whilst we're on the subject, as he's been picked up by Blast, it's certainly worth noting, when we go outside of considerations of his denial and everything else, he's by far and away the quickest and most efficient when it comes to the soft disruption and setting up sites. So another big shout for the Tachanka there.
Absolutely. Now you're enjoying seeing it more and more, Tim. I'm sure the next thing you'll be doing is spending half a day locked into Consulate and testing out all the angles you're seeing coming out of G2.
Oh,
Hoist up the bank. Go all the way, Tim.
I can make that shot on bank basement now, blindfold.
You're halfway there, mate.
I was going to say I only have to close one eye, but then I'd have to correct myself. My eyes aren't the problem. Yeah, no,
I'm not sure if that's worse than saying your brain is the problem.
Well, one way or another, something's going to be.
Oh well. That's going to be a similar story as we've seen for a lot of this half as well. Always, Virtus.pro in general, rocking out that Flores and using it to shoot through a lot of the setup coming out of G2 because, as you've remarked, it's all about stall, barbed wire, shields, Goyo canisters, you name it. G2 are throwing a lot of Virtus.pro to try and slow them down here and see them losing out to the clock late round. And it has worked very, very well so far. And that's why you're seeing the Flores coming along time and time again, like the Dockerby. Why wouldn't you run a Flores when there's a mute ban on the other side? Because of course, it means these drones can roll through relatively unimpeded. Just got to watch out for those pesky things called bullets, Tim.
Yep, and the Flourish drones will continue rolling on in and taking out that utility. We just saw them clear barbed wire off the spiral stairs. There's going to be more gone as well. They're very cautious about taking that. They didn't want to lose the Rotero. So that does open up spiral stairs. We've got joystick established inside of admin as well, so we can start pushing from that. I'd like to see that joystick of old. He's been in admin for like a minute and 10 seconds now, and he's not gone anywhere. But he moved in with such aggression and purpose, but then he kind of just sits on his hands and, you know, yeah, he's drawn in, and that's the problem that Virtus.pro seem to be having, is they don't seem to have anybody that's willing to just go in there and be like, you know what, I'm going to take, they've given me admin, so I'm going to move into coffin, and they've given me that, so I'm going to move up to vending, I'm going to move up to meeting door, and I'm just going to stick my head in and see what I get. And, you know, no, it doesn't always work, but sometimes it does, and I think like Virtus.pro just never really have those moments. G2 do manage to pick up Damp, 5 versus 4.
Absolutely, it's the starting point they want. One player being gone is enough for this to start spiraling against them as they've run into all these Fenrir F-Nats on the way through. Look at it. 2 players at the same time as being blinded out as they try and step their way forward. Advantage going to G2. A spray from Doki. Can't quite find his man because of the flash. Another kill flies over. Joystick going down to Blaz, and they can't quite secure the trade in time. But it looks like, Tim, actually, they've got a pretty decent position here, Virtus.pro, with quite a bit of time to play with. Doesn't help if you can't get your kills, though. Blaz has found one, finds 2, onto a 3K in the round, and it's always to try and save this one. It's looking like a G2 4-1 scoreline, though, Tim. Unless he can pull off something magic, but G2 a bit too experienced, I think, to give him this one.
Yeah, I would be very, very surprised. There we go. Stomping's going to close it out with a shotgun. Pasha having a little bit of a nightmare from vending there. You know, it's the Dockerby SMG is not an easy weapon to control. It's wild, to say the least. And we've just seen it there. If it's one that Pasha's struggling with, he kind of got locked into his recoil control, but he was already off target. So a bit of a tough one for him. And G2, that was the moment, really, that the round swung. So 4-1, G2 locking down their first and second choice sites. They're going to be happy with that, and now they go for the bonus round. They're going to be back to piano, I would imagine. Maybe they go for the split site, but I think we'll probably see them just go piano again, and that's going to be their opportunity to get themselves at 5-1.
So I'd be very, very shocked if they don't manage to walk away the 5-1. Like, I know for Virtus.pro, like as you said, they've already shown they can make it work into an expo hit. Maybe they get away with it here. More my concern, I think, comes down to G2 will have seen what worked against them last time around. They're a very adaptive team these days. I think they'll have a bit of a change in plan. Maybe still the same sort of ops, so a lot of traps being brought along to slow things down. We saw a bit of smoke, we saw C4s. In fact, yeah, basically the exact same lineup as we saw last time round. Alamar being on that Warden maybe offers a bit of threat on towards Always, who no doubt is once again going to want to try and run them down.
Beauty of the Denari gadgets, and one of the things that's going to add to those layers of complexity as time goes on, that we will see more and more creative setups. All you need is line of sight. All you need is line of sight between 2 of those connectors, and the laser will join up. There we go. Beautiful view. That, look at that, all the way through, just by opening up that soft surface at the bottom, and it creates this web. It's almost like a spider web, isn't it, all over that wall on the opposite side as we were rolling through there, and it's just so much to be done. So
we're starting things out towards the cubby wall. The surprise is there. Is it another admin side start? I imagine not, because we can't see too many of the players dancing around it for now. It's more about getting yourself around the building to kick things off. But you see 2 gathering out here as well. Doki under a little bit of pressure. Surely they don't just try a same floor rush in and ignore what's going on upstairs. Tim, direct towards site is always dangerous when you don't clear out above.
It is on this side because there's a lot of vertical angles that are possible here. Last time we did see Virtus.pro make that push straight up yellow stairs to try and get aggressive, but yeah, they definitely seem to. They at least want to get the side wall open. That gives them some access there, but I still don't see, even with that, any way that they can just ignore that top floor because that's an area that can be watched for. But it certainly looks like they could do. The Blitz is keen to get on in, but little relocation there might just slow things down.
Not many C4s to play with, to be fair, as well. There was the one that we had on side from Alamar that's now been used. Obviously found no one. They have to make this work. They have to go pushing in, surely, right? I will say that. Always come up from yellow instead. But if it's surprising, they've opened the side wall to bait him in a little bit. Instead, he's going to push himself onto another side. Could get support from his teammates to push into the other side at the same time. Now steps across with the rotate in. Got to be careful of the player inside the lobby at the same time. I'm going to try and make this work nice and shallow, Tim, but there was that goo mine that we saw put down on the breach. Always not quite be able to get away with it. And here comes Alamau. If he gets rid of this man on the cover here, he can completely shut this round down.
And he does manage to as well. Goes on in, 4v4, joystick picks up Lyra, 55 seconds left to go. G2 getting the kill that they needed really to open things up because it just means now it's very difficult, and there you go, the Blitz goes in, Alamau cuts him down, 3v3, G2 still fighting to hold on, it's all Alamau. 3v2, 2v2 as Dan manages to take him out, so there'll be no ace for Alamau, but 35 seconds left to go on G2. They still have the high ground, Des.
Bro's in a trance then, just thought himself so bad, wanted that shotgun kill through the wall, but yeah, good response from VP. 30 seconds, very little utility to work with, Tim. And now Dan's gone down too. This one looks a little bit cooked. Shepard going to give away his position here any second now. G2 have got the vertical. They've got a player in behind, the stack of whatever they are off towards the side. And he walks and Doki steps out for the swing. G2 with a 5-1 half. Dominating here on Consulate.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit of a mistake from Virtus.pro coming in there. They did so well previously with that top floor clearance. G2 gave it up too soon. They gave him about a minute and a half to work down towards site. They were backed up pretty easily by Virtus.pro, who just got aggressive, went in with the Blitz, the Twitch, cleared out utility, and just pushed into them. And they gave it up. And this time Virtus.pro didn't bother with that. They said, no, we're just going to go straight in towards site, open the wall, get on in. And it just left G2, as you saw at the end there. They've got Blaz above, no challenge on him whatsoever. He can just sit and hold those vertical angles. Very difficult to win that round from there. So I think, yeah, a little bit of a misstep in round 6 from Virtus.pro. And found themselves 5-1 down. And honestly, I don't feel like, they can think that they're hard done to with it. G2 have been the better side so far.
Absolutely. Again, there's that mute ban that I spoke about. No surprise at all. G2 banning it away against Wild last week. Similar story here. And I'm curious to know if they play a lot of Dockerby here now, because they're not a massive Dockerby team. Run it from time to time, but you tend to see them stepping across into other operators. Doki and Deimos, like Shaiko and Deimos, you just know it's going to be a pairing that you're going to see an awful lot of. For now, at least that's not really part of the game plan. Only a couple of rounds required for G2 to get this one closed out. And Tim, I'm not going to hate it too much because we've had a pretty long day so far. We've had two 15-round games. We've had a good skyscraper, albeit a slightly quicker one, but it will get us back on track and back on time.
Yeah, it'd catch us up nicely, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'm not sure it'll be quite so straightforward, but we'll see. G2 certainly hitting shots at the minute and making a nuisance of themselves, particularly when you look at Blaz and Alamau stomping, getting in on the action as well. So wouldn't put it past them to continue this sort of pace on the attack. It's like I said, for me, G2 are one of the Consulate pioneers. When Consulate came in with the reworks, G2 were one of the first teams to really adopt it. And I know that the lineup's changed a little bit since then, but still, their understanding of the map has continued to be on a great level, and particularly defensively, we saw them coming up with a lot of the ideas that kind of stuck initially, and went in sort of broader scale, and I'm sure on the attack they're going to be, more than familiar with what they're facing from Virtus.pro.
Still, it's a similar style of setup, right? All about that kind of time waste and slowing things down. So we'll see if they have quite the same impact. Something though tells me that G2 a little more rapid. One of our two teams last stage, interestingly alongside Secret, that had a better attacking win rate than a defensive win rate. Very rare that you hear that these days, but as we all know and see across many maps, a very, very proficient attacking team G2 are, and I think that's what's making the difference now for them to be able to climb towards things like the EWC final, to be that top team that everyone's very excited to see at something like Munich coming up soon, and of course SI not too long after. I think actually Alamal tweeted out early on, the SI Grand Final day is Stompin's birthday.
It is.
If that ain't a story, if that ain't plot armor, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I believe so. It could already be kind of written in the stars, couldn't it? It's almost writes itself a script like that. But for now, going to focus on the game at hand, and that's all they can do each and every time. Lyra does go up and take out some of those trick controllers. Just going to give himself a little bit of a view with the Vendetta as well. Force is always back from that meeting door. He knows that the Deimos is underneath, but not anymore. Pasha deals with that beautifully. Opens up the wall, finds the kill. Deimos gone. 5v4 advantage Virtus.pro, but leveled up very quickly by Doki. Shepard taking a lot of damage as well. Does manage to win his fight, but can't take any more.
They're doing what they can here. Doki a little bit blind to Dan, coming in aggressive there. I like this from Virtus.pro, Tim. Largely hold their positions, but as G2 have stepped on forward, they've been willing to swing and go and play aggressive. Even Shepard getting involved in the fight against Alamau. 4v2, and so far G2 being held at bay. Over 60 seconds to work with, but now you're going to start seeing that Janka come to life, I think, Tim, with 18 of those Shumakas still to go. That's a lot of stall.
It's an awful lot of stall. You're absolutely right. All they've lost is about 14 seconds off the whole thing. 7 seconds if you put in two into the same place. So, yeah, awful lot to go. They're not going to need it. Pasha manages to pick himself up a double at the end. Virtus.pro with the successful first defense. And, look, we came in thinking G2 might just run away with this one. But Virtus.pro saying, just hold that thought. There might just be a little twist left in this tale yet.
May well be. It's round one. We'll give them a bit of time. G2 can still fight in. They've got a lot of space, a lot of rope with which to work. They just started a bit of a comeback. I tell you what, I saw Pasha on that Goyo and the kill that he got with the Vector. It's kind of been his staple for the longest time. Absolute demon when he's running around with one of those. Not, it's fair, even without them, we've seen what he can do across various stages now. One of those players, I think, that you probably put in a conversation for one of the best European players of all time. Genuinely believe that as well. But I think often overshadowed by others in the region that we see having stronger results as a team. But he's been nothing but phenomenal since he's been on VP.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Well, you know, there's 5 players there that have all got a massive shout to, you know, the achievements that they've got within this game. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Pasha just, you know, head and shoulders above a lot of players, not just within EML but worldwide. Certainly up there, I think, in the top 5. Top 10 discussion, you know, of players worldwide at this point in time. Absolutely phenomenal, and not somebody that you want to go up against. But G2, they may well continue to be punished by him. 6-6 at the minute, which is quite a quiet day for Pasha, whether you believe that or not. But he's certainly got plenty more that he could be offering to cause problems for the G2's side.
Absolutely. All right. Spotting out enemy number 1 is always looking to be a bit of a time waste here inside this blue wall. A bit of a nuisance to get through at the best of times. You know, see often, you know, Monty's want to try and charge down through blue and take control of that side of the map, sweep your way through server, start putting pressure on backside. There isn't a shield on side this time around. They do have those nano EMPs. They can toss at the wall if so desired to try and keep all ways away while they get it open, but looks like Stomping's not really too bothered about that now, running around on the Thermite or Blaz on the Ace as well. Still for now figuring out exactly what the game plan needs to be. Because why come in with a fixed game plan when you can see what's going on and then decide what the right action is?
I was going to say there was a bit of a mistake there, but the Selma charge, there was about half a second in it. It wasn't the first impact EMP that did the job, it was the second that we heard that kept it safe. So that's going to be main breach getting opened up. So a big first step for G2. It's not something that we saw Virtus.pro do when they were attacking the basement, and I always like that to be opened up. It just gives that little bit of pressure, that little bit of difficulty to the defenders.
It's in 2 of the wee-woos go off so far, and as they step through, you see G2 players immediately just being like, right, where are they? Where am I getting swung from? Expectation is always there. Joystick, though, dug in. Do they know about it swinging close on the door? I'm not too sure they do. Doki dead to rights. The Capitao offline. They've dropped the hatch here, happy with the kill that they've got. Now at least Joystick's going to hang here, keep him causing more bother as another phone call rings out. This is where they should get forced back. Instead, chooses to go aggressive. I like the attempt, but stomping, he ain't having none of that, Tim.
No, he was ready. He knew that the swing was coming. I think he could hear the phone call ringing out ahead of him as well. And vibration gave Joystick away, so it gets taken down. Hatches will now be opened. Only 55 seconds left for G2, though. Default cam still being taken out. A lot of work not done yet that they would ideally like to have behind them. So we're going to have some of that soft destruction done as well. Nitro in hand. G2 need to be very, very careful here. The important thing that they need is a couple of kills.
Just a couple of kills, Tim. Just a couple of kills. Floor being opened up, you can shoot this one out, of course, as well, as long as they see it's going off. It doesn't 100% clear, so that's definitely going off, and floor is now open. We did see G2 getting a couple of kills near that exact wall off to the left-hand side of your screen, but now G2 are not dancing around that, not going to give Shepard the opportunity, as that mirror window is going to disappear. Starts to make that world feel a little bit smaller for Virtus.pro, but Tim, time waits for no one. We've got 15 seconds to go here, and they've got to step forward and make a plan happen. Can they get away with it? Yes, they can, in behind White Pillar. Stomping should be able to stick this one. This is now into a 1 versus 3 for Loira. At least temporarily gets away with one. Stomping comes off, but can't hold out against 2 more. Even pulled away from the plant there to try and help his team. But G2, like Virtus.pro, Tim, see the clock run down to nothing.
Yeah, the cover just wasn't really happening for him there, was it? Stomping saw the writing on the wall, had to go guns up. You know, who knows what happens if you've got 2 or 3 of them rushing at you at the same time. Stranger things have happened at sea. We've seen this one burst of fire take out 2 or 3 heads very, very quickly, but it wasn't going to happen this time. G2 pull that tactical timeout code. They're going to try to have a little discussion, see what's going wrong, because right now Virtus.pro are coming back at them very, very nicely.
They are, and understandably, yeah, like you say, timeout feels like the right thing to call him. A couple of close moments for sure, but it's still Virtus.pro that are the ones that are adding those points to their score at the top of your screen. A little bit more climbing to do. It's still 5-3, so G2 plenty of time here to still get themselves up to at least overtime. This is one of those games that when I looked at it today, I think we were talking about it earlier, it was one of the ones that I was like, it's kind of hard to call which way this one goes. It is always a tight game between these two. I remember Doki saying last time they beat them, he's like, yeah, like that. You saw how excited he was when they managed to beat them on bank, and he was just like, always a hard game against these guys, always get really revved up for it, always love it. And you're seeing why now with how close it's starting to become.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal match. I mean, what a night of siege we've had, really. You know, right from the off, that first game, Wild and Falcons going to overtime, and it's been sort of breakneck speed ever since. We've had some absolutely brilliant play to watch. It's been a real treat for the taste buds tucking into this one tonight. But here go Virtus.pro on their 3rd choice side. It's going to be Piano, and they're going to try to do what G2 did and go for that full successful rotation. And what a response that would be to G2 winning round 4, 5, 6 to come back and win 7, 8, 9 and put yourself right back in the game. I think G2 will really start to feel the pressure if they don't get this round, to be honest with you, because then, you know, that lead that they had at 5-1 becomes 5-4, and you've all of a sudden got Virtus.pro breathing down your neck. The alternative being 6-4 and 6-3 and 3 chances to get it locked out. It's a big swing round, is this one.
One that we always love talking about. And Alamau taking some influence or some inspiration, should I say, from always a resident Fuse shield main. Speak about it a lot. You know, you can ban away all the operators that you like, shield-wise. Blackbeard, no doubt, to follow next, I think. The Virtus.pro. That was going to run things like the Fuse at you. Very happy to do that. It's a Virtus.pro sort of trademark, and at this point, well, Alamau is going to be giving them some royalties off the back of it, trying to make the same work out for himself. They have got that Deimos and the Dockerby combo, the sort of thing that normally I'd attribute towards Falcons as being very key to their roam clear on a lot of maps. G2 desperate to make it work. Again, with the mute ban, it makes total sense, but not quite able to move at the pace required to get these rounds done in good time.
Picking at a keeper barricade and hearing it replaced immediately with the DMR. Twitch drone goes in. Going to look to clear out a little bit of utility. Plenty of droning going on, actually, from G2 today. We're over a minute into the round. We can still see them raining around. Always will pick up Blaz. It's a little bit too easy. He's on that little roaming smoke roll and manages to get him with the FMG. That's the Dockerby gone as well. The loss of a call that could have been used to instigate the execute. That could be a big problem for G2.
The heartbreak that follows with it just being off the back of attack timeout as well, right? You kind of rely on things going your way after that point. It'd be a massive momentum break if you don't manage to get this one over the line. Shotgun's being tried here to try and push him back. A C4 coming over. No, shot out just in time. He tries again. The joystick now hits the deck, but they can't quite finish him out here as smoke goes off all around them. Chaos in the G2 camp, I'd imagine. Laura going to finish off at least one. Joystick still down, so for now it's a 4 versus 3. But again, Tim, watch that clock start to run away here. This is all up on the top floor. We have still got a minute to play with, but VP ain't done. Pasha up for another one. Stomping a trade back. This is a close round. Who's coming out on top?
Yeah, G2 need to be paying attention to the fundamentals there, allowing Pasha to slip the net and get up there onto top floor. Absolute freebie onto Lyra. They can't be allowing it, and he's got himself away to safety as well. 40 seconds left to go. G2 do have the top floor now, but they've got to start dealing with these Denaris. That's only going to close them out for 8 seconds. Stomping takes a load of damage there from the barbed wire as well. Super low health. 30 seconds left to go. G2 not in a position to put the diffuser down.
Yeah, Lamar's done all he can there with the fuse charges too. He's going to have to drop and try and make this happen, but if he dies, it's a pretty dire situation. Smoke's going out, one deep, one close. Going to reposition himself as Pasha gets rid of Stomping. Doki's in as well, but they've got to get the diffuser down here, Tim. Try and do what they can, but there's traps galore to run over as Pasha hits the triple. Off comes Alamau, staring through his own smoke. There's really not a whole lot he can do. Looks for one. Pasha hits his 4th in the round. Virtus.pro really have turned this game on its head.
What a gauntlet Doki was running through there when he set off at run towards Exhibition, and it was just like trap, 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 shot, 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 and he was just getting absolutely hammered. There was nothing for it at that point. But yeah, G2, you said it yourself, maybe just left things a little bit too late, but also didn't tick those boxes. They allowed Pasha to slip the net and come back and really hurt them. Deimos super powerful on that side. He can use those tracks, use the Vendetta through the floor. So much work that could have been done, but was lost when Lyra was taken out, and G2 have got to start punishing Virtus.pro when they try bold moves like that. They can't allow them to get away with it, but Virtus.pro have been more than happy with that. The alternative was 6-3. They found themselves 5-4 and just 1 round behind. Great stuff for them.
Yeah, G2 are probably sweating a bit now because they've had that tack timeout as well. That's the worst part for them. Still some work to be done. Pasha turning into the demon that we know that he always can. Doesn't matter who it's against. Again, he can just have massive games back to back to back. Hard to stop. And now G2, got to figure something out. You've had that first quarter, played all 3 sites. You get the full repeat now, starting with the arguably best site for Virtus.pro, given they started here. It's their preference. Got to change the game plan, and maybe, given there's a Yin coming along, and I'm seeing the Grim, seeing the Deimos as a replacement for a Buck, maybe we see a bit of a window take coming out here, Tim.
Yeah, possibly. We'll see how that one plays out. The Yin and the Grim leaning towards it. No Amaru, but still definitely doable.
5 seconds to insertion.
At least should make life difficult. Might be able to use it to take top yellow if they choose to go there. Is it very flexible build really as to what you can do. I'm just looking through the entry list as well. Not only have Virtus.pro got the last 3 rounds in a row, they've got the last 3 entries as well, and with a high conversion rate. Again, it's something I picked up in the last match. I'll pick it up again here. High conversion rate for those entry kills going to secure the round. It's something G2 need to improve upon. They were actually 4-2 through the first half. They were doing really well on the entry, but they haven't touched it in the second half.
All right, starting out where things have kicked off for the majority of these rounds and getting that cubby opened up just to give them access upstairs. Even if you aren't then getting inside, it's about the pressure, Tim. Phantom pressure as we talk about it. It's about the idea that someone could be there, so you have to respect the opening at all times. And often there is someone playing out on that meeting balcony. They're sat there looking to challenge through, catch anyone trying to rotate back and forth, and you get a little bit of back and forth, C4s going out the other way. It can get a little bit chaotic. For G2, I think it's more just about making sure that they know someone could be there, and that will force Virtus.pro to have one more thing to think about. By the way, I really like how much we've seen of the Reaper. Since it's been added to more ops, we've seen loads of it.
Yeah, the Reaper's fine. We've seen some good use of it. Like you say, we've had quite a few kills on the back of it. It's definitely proving to be reasonably popular with the pros. I'm sure we will continue to see it being used. And Doki's going to put it away for now.
I'm surprised he's not running like the shotgun as the primary. Normally that's the kind of go-to when you've got the Reaper as your secondary.
So he's going to be looking at getting onto what would be old connector window. I think we still call it connector window. I think everybody knows. Going to be supported by Stomping on the balcony as well. Shanka is in position for denial, but denial of top yellow rather than denial of this swing in, which is going to happen. Look at the aggression going into sight. Blaz manages to get Pasha. Doki onto another. This has worked perfectly. This is what G2 needed, a collapse and a flawless round. Where has that been for the last 3 rounds, the G2 fans will ask, but better late than never.
Bit of an explosion forward, yeah. I mean, the Candela's going in. I mean, Doki can't get challenged. And the last thing you expect, really, is a player to come repelling in on that window and then to charge in towards the side to his left and try and, the natural defense reaction is to try and stop the default plant going down on the window. 100% of the time, it's where you think things are going off. You hear all these candelas going off. You think, okay, it's a bit of a distraction there, but he's not actually going to push me. Lo and behold, Doki takes the risk and goes for it. Actually reminds me of old school Team Secret, I want to say, on this map, just after it got reworked, baited the main plant spot and then planted just inside that window that we saw Doki repel in from, and no one had a clue it was going down. It was like very much a big surprise. It was really, really interesting to see. Doki, of course, hasn't gone for a plant, but has used that as his spot of aggression, and that has caught Virtus.pro off guard. It's a classic thing that we say when a team is at this point now where they're very, very close to winning. It's like, they've only got to be right like once at this point to win. Virtus.pro have got to be right every single time.
Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it? But Virtus.pro have already shown us that they're capable of going 3 rounds back to back to back, so G2 cannot switch off here. I've no wonder. I think I'd feel stressed if I'd just got through connector window into the slap bang middle of a site that's completely controlled by Virtus.pro, hoping that I'll get some kills in a 5-4 game. I think I'd feel a bit stressed.
Definitely. I mean, for G2, because let's not forget now, you've got Falcons ahead of them by a point, Fnatic are ahead by 2 points. Reload! It's very early on to be talking about finishing standings, but if you finish in those top 2, let's not forget, you get that bye round in playoffs, and you win a game, then you basically guaranteed yourself a spot at the major. It's that close versus having to play a couple of games and really try and fight your way through it. So, yeah, G2, they need to get this one over the line here. Still want to hold their spot at top of the table. They will get that if they can close this out here. Virtus.pro's got to hold on for 2 rounds, though, to force us to overtime. And my God, do they need it, because they've only got 2 points down near the bottom of the table.
Already trying to work those verticals. Stomping is in there. The boogie drone has cleared out a massive path for him to check down into Piano. That is what it's about, clearing Piano so that they can go in and work the verticals onto the bottom floor. Doki gets caught with his nade in his hand. Joystick just taking him down so easily on those yellow stairs. Big loss there with the IQ off the board.
It's an easy first pick. Doki just completely not expecting that level of aggression to come out from Virtus.pro. Understandably, you know, Joystick being one of the players you see go aggressive. What are the chances that he's there ready for Doki at that exact moment? I'd say pretty low. Crucially, they got rid of the IQ to move down, means that Solus can disappear in towards the map and be a real bother to try and deal with. So this actually looks really good for Virtus.pro, given there's half a round to play here, and they've got rid of probably the most important operator to kill at that stage.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult. Alamo manages to find Pasha, though. That's a great start for them. Few good mans will probably go with him. And Shepard, nice. You got to pre-fire on that swing. You knew somebody was there, but waited to see. And Blaz beat him to the punch. 4 versus 3. G2 could be on the way. 1 minute 10. So there's plenty of time left to go. Not everybody is back in sight, though. Joystick, he's up on the top floor, Des.
I tell you what, he's got some balls here. You're in a 3 versus 4 and you choose to roam far away from sight, leaving your team in a 2 versus 4. That can be rough. But if he times this right, Tim, he can do so much damage from above, and G2 have got to be respectful of that. I hope to God they've got a flank drone or 2 set up. Always going to get rid of Blast here, which now makes things even that little bit closer. They get absolutely gunned down as they step on forward as Dan cleans house. 1 left going. Loira, unable to get any kills really since that first half. Tim has got a win out of 1 versus 3. 35 seconds is a long time in which to do it, but it doesn't feel like Virtus.pro are going to give him an inch.
No, I don't think they will. Always cuts him down, and G2, I'm sure they're going to be watching that one back afterwards and seeing exactly where it's gone wrong. 4 versus 3, opportunity to win the map, and Joystick up on the top floor. And then just pushing that cut. They were right on top of each other. They were holding each other's hands walking around that corner, Des, and you're asking for one thing, and that's exactly what they got. Both of them sprayed down at the same time. A big problem for G2. They need to just create a bit of separation in that sort of a situation, so it's not such an easy challenge for the defenders. Here it is. Both of them right on top of each other.
Just absolutely battered by Dan there, as he so often does. The silent assassin pops up out of nowhere sometimes and wins around for his team. Be hard to deal with. And yeah, Doki definitely looking stressed.
Round 12 then. Could be going to more overtime. It could be the 3rd game in 4 that we get overtime, Des. It's going to be Piano this time. G2 looking to get it won. Let's see what's happened previously. So it played in round 9. VP won it. The only site G2 have won on the attack has been that top floor. So VP saying that they can get that 3rd choice site done.
Attackers are moving
it's work, I think, for G2 to do. Top floor control.
Last time.
Yeah, he just can't help himself, can he? And you need him most, he steps up big. But for G2, On top floor, I could maybe see a way they could get this over the line. I think that's why Virtus.pro have chosen not to step back there. Here, at least, they've got to clear the top floor and then wonder about the site itself. And as you say, it was a big patch of 4K last time. G2 put all of their eggs in the shield drop and then smoked baskets to try and make things happen. And it simply did not work out. But they can go fast here on the top floor and cut off these players that are up there. There's 3 of them. That could be a great way to start setting themselves up for a win, but they have to execute effectively as a team if they want to pinch on these top 4 players before they step away.
G2 just opening everything up, clearing utility with nades. Nice and easy bit start to the round. The entry conversion has continued in that last round, so again, keep an eye on that. Whoever comes away with the first kill, there's a good opportunity for them to come away with more. It's Joystick who manages to pick it up. Doki does get a trade 4 versus 4, but as the stats have said previously, Virtus.pro have just taken themselves a good advantage in the round, but will G2 be able to turn it over? Doki picking up Asher, that's a big one. There's Army gone, the smoke gone. What a utility left off the side of Virtus.pro. Moira, no idea that he was being chased by Always. 3 versus 3, Virtus.pro continue to hold on.
Oh, but they've got away with a triple kill here. Doki, after being quiet all game, has gone pretty big, Tim. They've got half a round to play a 3v1. All I said about Dan a second ago remains true. He could still go big here, but G2, knowing the discipline, the experience, the composure they have got, should be able to get this one done. Find Dan, and this round's over.
Exactly that. They don't even need to worry too much about getting the plant down. A minute 15 is far too long for one player to be able to hold on. You just need to use that utility that you've got at your disposal. Just all work together. Just go in 3 at once from different directions and work your way through as it is. Dan's making a bold move here. He's going to try and get himself upstairs. I'm not sure if they've got any drones that will see this, but this could be a big play. He takes his shots. Nothing lands. They know that he's there now. He manages to take Stomp, and they've dropped to sight, and they're going to be going for the plant, but they've given up the top floor, and this could be a problem for G2. He searches, he seeks, but he cannot find. The diffuser goes down, and now Dan, he has to battle his way back downstairs.
Half a second extra, he probably kills Doki there, and we change around how this plays out. Now they're going to be outside the map. It's going to be so hard for him to be able to recover this one. It's heartbreaking with Virtus.pro, Tim. They came so close, but it feels now that G2 have retaken that vertical. This one is pretty much done. Back outside the map. They had all the yellow pings and all the info in the world on what was going on. But with only about 10 seconds still to go, this one looks pretty done. Going to try and stick it. He'll have a player hopping towards his left here. Tries to bait it out. They're going to get back out the window. Timmy has to stick this now. It's far too late. Doki's there for the close. A quiet game from him until the last round where he nets a 4K to get G2 all 3 points.